Let's dive straight in.
Inferno. May 14th, 1988. Carrollton, Kentucky.
A sunny Saturday night. A church youth group was heading home from a day at Kings Island Amusement Park near Cincinnati, 47 people packed into a retired school bus. The seats were narrow, covered in vinyl. One small door at the front. No emergency exits on the sides. No seatbelts.
Around 10:55 p.m.
On Interstate 71, the bus cruised south. Up ahead, a black Toyota pickup drifted across the center line. It slammed head-on into the bus. The impact crushed the front end. The gas tank, mounted near the front stepwell, ruptured instantly. Gasoline flooded the floor. Then, ignition. A fireball blew through the bus. Flames spread fast, fueled by foam seat padding. Thick black smoke filled the cabin. The only door jammed from the crash. Panic exploded inside. Some kids pushed through the jammed front door. Others climbed out broken windows. But the narrow aisle, heat, and smoke trapped dozens. Within minutes, the entire bus turned into an inferno. By the time rescuers arrived, it was too late for many. 27 people died, most from smoke inhalation. 24 were children and teenagers. 34 more were injured, many with severe burns. The driver of the pickup, Larry Mahoney, survived. He was drunk. Blood alcohol twice the legal limit. He got a 16-year sentence, served about 10. The crash changed federal safety standards for buses. Fuel tanks were moved. Emergency exits were added. But for the families, the damage was permanent, 27 dead. One of the worst drunk driving bus crashes in U.S. history.
Impact. March 13th, 2012. Sierre, Switzerland.
A Belgian tour bus carrying 52 people, mostly school children returning from a ski trip, entered the Sierre tunnel late at night. The kids were aged 11 and 12. They'd spent a week skiing in Val d'Annevier and were heading home to Belgium.
At 9:17 p.m.
Deep inside the tunnel, the bus suddenly veered right. It slammed at full speed, about 62 miles per hour, into a concrete wall at the end of a safety bay. The front crumpled instantly. The impact was so violent, the bus stopped dead in seconds. Emergency services flooded in, but the crash site was horrific. The front half was mangled. Seats were crushed like tin cans. Dozens were trapped in twisted metal. The tunnel amplified the chaos. Sirens echoed, lights flickered, smoke built up. Rescuers worked through the night, cutting, lifting, pulling survivors out one by one. But 28 people died on the spot. That included 22 children, both drivers, and 2 teachers. 24 others were seriously injured, many with brain and spine trauma. Investigators found no mechanical failure, no tire burst, no alcohol, no drugs. The driver simply lost control. Some suspected a moment of distraction. In a country known for safety, this hit hard. Flags in Belgium and Switzerland flew at half-mast. 28 dead. 22 of them children. A normal ski trip ended in silence.
Collapse. August 5th, 2018. Talodi, South Kordofan, Sudan.
A school bus packed with students headed toward El Obeid for exams. It was early morning. The bus was old, poorly maintained, and overloaded. About 30 miles outside town, while crossing a narrow bridge, the driver swerved to avoid an oncoming truck. The bus lost control, smashed the bridge railing, and flipped into a dry riverbed. The fuel tank ruptured. Within seconds, fire engulfed the bus. Students were trapped by twisted metal and jammed exits. Locals rushed in with buckets and blankets, but the flames were too strong. 22 people died, including 17 students. Many bodies were burned beyond recognition. The few survivors jumped out shattered windows. Emergency response took over an hour. No ambulances arrived in time. The disaster sparked outrage over unsafe buses and poor infrastructure. But little changed. 22 dead, most of them kids. Exams never happened.
Plunge. May 21st, 1976. Martinez, California.
A charter bus carrying 52 students and teachers from Yuba City High was headed to a choir competition in Miramonte High. They left early morning, spirits high.
Around 9:30 a.m.
The bus approached the Marina Vista off-ramp from I-680. The driver, inexperienced with the area, took the wrong ramp. It was a tight curve with a steep drop. He entered too fast. The bus smashed through a guardrail and plunged 30 feet onto a dirt embankment below. The roof collapsed on impact. Seats ripped from the floor. Dozens were pinned. Emergency crews worked for hours. 28 students and 1 teacher were killed. 19 more were injured, many critically. It remains one of the deadliest school bus crashes in U.S. history. The crash led to stricter driver training rules and improved off-ramp barriers. But for Yuba City, it became a date etched in grief. 29 dead. A choir trip turned into a mass casualty scene.
Firestorm, April 10th, 2014. Veracruz, Mexico.
A passenger bus carrying 47 people, mostly pilgrims returning from a religious event in Villahermosa, traveled down the Tinaja-Cosamaloapan highway at night. Most were asleep.
It was around 4 a.m.
The driver cruised at high speed through the dark. Up ahead, a semi-truck loaded with construction materials was parked on the shoulder. No hazard lights, no flares. The driver had stopped to sleep.
At 4:20 a.m.,
the bus slammed into the back of the truck at highway speed. The impact crushed the front of the bus like a soda can. The fuel tank burst. Within seconds, a massive fireball swallowed the front half of the vehicle. Passengers woke to flames and smoke. The front door was crushed. People rushed toward the back, but the aisle jammed with panicking bodies. Windows wouldn't open. Flames spread through seats soaked in fuel. Smoke filled the cabin so fast that people started collapsing where they stood. 4 passengers near the back smashed a side window and jumped out. Everyone else was trapped. Within minutes, the entire bus was engulfed. Firefighters arrived 30 minutes later. By then, it was just a shell. 43 people died, most burned beyond recognition. Bodies were piled near the back door, where they'd tried to escape. Identification took days using dental records and DNA. Authorities blamed both drivers, the bus driver for speeding and the truck driver for parking illegally without lights. Families demanded accountability, but neither company faced serious punishment. It remains one of Mexico's worst highway tragedies. 43 dead. 1 parked truck, 1 burst tank. A bus turned into a furnace.
Fall, July 1st, 2019. Himachal, Pradesh, northern India.
A private bus carrying over 50 villagers wound through narrow mountain roads in Kulu district. It was supposed to hold 42 people. Instead, passengers squeezed into the aisles. A few climbed onto the roof. No seatbelts, worn tires, a driver who'd been on duty for hours. The road was a steep, twisting mountain path with no guardrails in several sections.
At 4 p.m.,
as the bus rounded a tight curve, a motorbike appeared suddenly in the opposite lane. The driver swerved left to avoid it. The tires lost grip. The bus smashed through a weak metal barrier and plunged 500 feet into a gorge. As it fell, it flipped multiple times, throwing people out of broken windows. Survivors later said it felt like the bus became a blender. When it finally hit the rocks below, the roof collapsed inward. Bodies were scattered along the slope. Some were crushed inside. Others were thrown into trees or onto rocks. Local villagers climbed down the steep terrain to help. But the remote location made rescue almost impossible. Ambulances couldn't reach the site. Rescuers formed human chains to carry bodies and survivors uphill. Helicopters arrived hours later. 44 people died, many instantly. Dozens more were injured. Some died on the way to the hospital because of delays. Investigators found the bus was overloaded, had bald tires, and hadn't been inspected in years. The driver didn't have proper rest. Local authorities promised reforms. But accidents like this happen often in India's hill regions. One sudden swerve, a weak barrier, and a packed bus fell from the sky. 44 dead. A mountain road turned into a death drop.
These tragedies are reminders of how fragile life can be. We deeply regret every life lost in these horrific incidents, and we sincerely hope we never have to witness such events again.